Journey eyes are closed. Contemplate and reflect why eyes are closed. These sense organs have 0.0001% of manifestation of real self. That is why we say no. We want to manifest completely. So that is why we have closed our eyes. And then the preparation for meditation demands listening and learning, contemplation and reflection, and so the place, awareness of the surrounding. That is one way to put the mind to the rest. You just become aware of the surrounding. Yes, take your mind to the objects present in the room, the sound, the smell, and the objects. So the mind's nature is distraction. So we say, okay, I will make you distracted. And once you have done, then you shift your awareness to on the body. That is the place where the body is lying. And then, what is the place of the real self? Reflection is required. The knowledge should settle into your mind. Place of the real self. Real self is all pervading. Its place is everywhere. So that shifts your awareness and attention from the body, from the thought, from the feeling and emotions flowing in the body and the mind to something higher. Place of the body and the real self. We have a knowledge for both. We have a knowledge of the both. Body is limited. So what happens when the body is limited? We take for granted that is me. So that is why we say the place is very important. What about the real self and its place? It is everywhere. And after that, the position of the body, the position of the body, and real self position. The real self cannot change the position because it is only one position. Why it cannot change the position? Because it is all pervading. There is nothing else than the real self. Oh, so in between the thought, feeling, and emotions are coming. Oh, they change their positions. They are not me. They are not me. When my mind at a deeper level claims that I am the mind, then only our mind, then only our mind says, I have a problem with the thought. The home doesn't belong to you, so why the room should distract you? We should be aware of that. We started with the place of the body, good position of the body, and the real self. So you see, there is a point of awareness. Point of awareness. Position of the body and the real self. And now the posture of the body and real self, the posture of the real self. It is only one. It cannot change its position. Why? The space contains in the real self. Real self is not contained in the real. That is the key point. So there are past impressions, identifications, they return and then they cause the distraction. Place, place, position, and place, position, and posture of the body and real self. Just be aware of that. Awareness is required, nothing else. What is awareness? Awareness is knowledge. We only need an awareness. So, after all, when I say, are you aware? Yes, I'm aware. So, not only you are aware of me, my body, the space and distance between you and me, and the sound, you are aware of so many things. You are also aware of the thought, feeling, and emotions. It has nothing to do with me. Why we feel thoughts are distracting me, I have already answered. You have to, even after the meditation, we need to contemplate on that. Very good. So now, being comfortable. Comfortable. So there is a sensation, there is a steadiness. So just, you can say the sensation and the steadiness of the body always changes. Of the real self, no change. Without, there must be something, some foundation. Without the real self that does not change, then only we have the body that is comfortable. Because we see the comfort in the body, independent. So it is good to start from looking at the entire body, no issue, and then experience the mind is looking inside, change of direction, and then you are experiencing sensation, comfort, and steadiness. And then we discern, we apply viveka to see sensation and steadiness belongs to the body. There is no sensation in the real self. Steadiness, we don't talk of the steadiness of the real self because it is only one. Oh, so the comfort is the manifestation of the real self. And that is all pervasive in the body. we claim it is the comfort of the body. Fact is that it is not the comfort of the body, it is the comfort in the body. Right? If it is not comfort in the body, then what? Very minute and subtle understanding. Body is tired, and then I sit down, I do some practice, and I find the comfort. Because the comfort is already present. It was covered, superimposed by the activities of the body. That is why I do not experience the comfort. Oh, so it is always hidden. Yes, it is always hidden, my friend. That needs to be understood. So during the day, you should discover the comfort in any situation, in any condition. That would help us to understand and go into the higher practice of meditation. Being carefree, being care. Again, we stress on carefree. And I gave you in the last time, I gave you a clear indication that what is being carefree? Idam and aham. I am and this is. This pertains to the entire world where I'm not. Oh, here I'm not? Yes. So, what I am not is constantly changing, including the thoughts and feeling and emotions. How is it not clear? So, anything that changes is not me. Anything. So, this is just, you are not doing anything, you are just watching. And in that state, you can have a clear understanding why we practice meditation. To help the mind to settle inside. That is the first goal. When it settles inside, it removes the distractions. And it removes the distraction means Patanjali says, what the Patanjali says, Yoga's Chitta Vritti Nirodha. I'm putting the mind of its contents. So a kind of self-absorption, that is the first goal of meditation. But it does not lead to the higher state. Second goal, the knowledge. What is the knowledge? That I am the real self. That knowledge is settled and confirmed. Confirm means realization. Where is that realization that I'm the real self? That is the main goal, primary goals. First goal is definitely is there because it helps me to move to the second. The real goal is the knowledge that I'm the real self is settled, recognized, realized. Okay, good, that is Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. So why not move the mind with that knowledge? That becomes the Mangalacharan. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. May there be happiness for all. So I recognize there are many. I recognize there is only one. Happiness pervades all. So what it means, I recognize what? I recognize there are many outside. There are many outside, no problem. But happiness is one in me and in everyone. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. So you see that when we say, may there be peace for all. No doubt the mind recognizes many waves. At the same time, the same mind recognizes one peace, the state of peace. That is where the vasanas, the past impressions, all distracts us. So why the mind has a thought now? Because the past impression triggers. Past impression is what? All the past impression made up of stress, duality, conflict, anxiety, delusion on one compartment. Other compartment, what the practices of meditation we are doing, their impressions are there. So someday, when you succeed in meditation, the second room of the mind becomes active. It reminds. But if the pressure of the past impressions are more, then you say, your experience says, I am distracted. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. But it means let there be a completeness for all. Oneness for all, completeness in all. So now you see that if there are past impressions that triggers mind moves to the vasanas, then distraction is. And if the mind moves to the impression we have already created by the meditation, then we say we succeed. We find a sense of completeness at this moment. And the last one, the Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. I told you before also 90% knowledge, 10% practice, you succeed in higher meditation. 50-50, we are a seeker, no doubt. 20-80, we have to be committed to the practice. It also indicates the level of our the seeker and the challenges we have. And in that state, you look at. So we separated the two. Aham and idam again. You see that? By Mangala Charan, we separate idam and aham. Idam is this, constantly changing, and idam keeps changing. So we are aware, oh, thought has come, it keeps changing. No worries, let it be. I am not changing. So there is, I have a thought, I don't have a thought. In both the cases, I is there. I have no thought, I recognize there is an unchanging. I have a thought, I recognize there is a changing, plus I am. You see the subtle aspects of the mantra also does the. Now, in that state, again, the mind likes to do something, doership. Why? That is the biggest ignorance, that I do something. So just take for granted you're looking at the breath. The breath is moving on its own. You're feeling the sensation. You're aware of the sensation of the breath. So you have a sensation, and then there is a space where there is no sensation. That space can take our mind deeper. So you are not disturbed by the sensation. Similarly, you are not disturbed by the thought. You recognize what is behind it. Oh. So you see I recognize the breath is going in. I recognize the breath is going in. I feel the sensation. So the space, sensation. Space, breath is coming out, sensation. That is the key. So, the breath in, there is a space, sensation, breath coming out, space, sensation. What we are doing? For the sake of doing, we are asking the mind, don't you explore the space between the sensations of breath in and out? Yes, yes, I could see that. That's okay. I could see that. That is enough. That is enough. It will take your mind deeper. So, what happens? That very space recognition will help you to see the contents of the mind, the thoughts of the mind are also separate. So the breath is going in and out, feeling the sensation, and no change in the rate and the rhythm of the breath. And then you silently repeat the mantra with a pause, Namaha, pause, Shivaya. You need not to say pause, but you recognize the pause. Namaha, Shivaya. Namaha Shivaya. So you see that you take your mind again and again on the space, means within, means transcending, means not concerned about other thoughts. They may be there, they may not be there. They may be there, they may not be there, no worries. You see the space and some time, the thought also, no worries. Namaha Space Shivaya. So your mind is repeating awareness of space instead of thoughts are there or not there. And after all, Om Namah Shivaya is also a thought. So why not pay awareness and attention on the thought that is Om Namah Shivaya instead of others? Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. whatever way you are chanting the mantra, there is always a space. No, sometime I forget. No, you don't forget the space. That is ignorance because you recognize the words Om Namah Shiva. Even if I say it very speedily, Om Namah Shiva, still I recognize the three words. How? Because there is a space between them. So that subtle awareness we need to enter into, we need to grow, we need to recognize. Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya. We need to contemplate more and more after doing the practice. That will help you recognize. I'm trying all my best to put it rationally. The intellect understands the mind. Mind is very near to the vasanas, first impressions, and the mind says, I'm happy with it. We're changing the direction. Now we'll move to the next step. Previous step was like driving on a highway with the traffic jam. Sometimes we forget because of the thought takes us away. But now this step is like driving on a highway without the traffic. So what we have to introduce, deep, silent and slow breathing. So one part of the mind is absorbed on the deep, silent breathing. One part of the mind. So one part is absorbed in deep, silent, slow breathing. Second part of the mind perceives Shiva instead of space. And the third part is saying mentally, Om Namah Shiva. Vasanas may still be there, but we found a way to transcend it. So, as the moment you start breathing deep, silently, on that track of the breath, which is a highway without the traffic, and you are driving, there is a space. In that space, there is the image of the Shiva. Namaha Shiva, Shivaya. And while breathing out the same thing, Om Shivaya means Namaha. Shivaya means Shivaya. Shivaya means, and again Om. So that pattern, you simply recognize that pattern. You know the image of the Shiva. Yes, I know it. Oh, good. Shiva. Namaha. Shiva is there. Shiva. Shiva is again there. So it's a kind of a, it's a kind of a circle. Mind is moving. What it means, educating and empowering the mind. That I told you, the twofold benefit is the first goal, and the second goal is evolving and awakening. Awakening to what? Knowledge. Knowledge of what? I'm the real self. Made it very simple again. Shiva. During inhalation and exhalation, it is a long track of deep silence, slow breathing, without any traffic. So, where we have an opportunity, Shiva image in that space, Namaha, Shiva image, Shiva. You just I can say visualize, see, feel, think, anything will do. See, feel, visualize, or even think of Shiva in between the words of the mantra. Shiva. What's going to happen? We will be able to drop the vasana. understanding, I told you. So when the intellect understands, let the mind implement it, and that is what we are doing. Namah Shivaya. Deep silence, slow breath. That is the track with highway with no traffic. And I'm enjoying. So you have a sense of a joy while saying it is good. Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya. So, in the one step, what we saw the traffic driving on the highway with lot of traffic jam. Then we introduced in this step driving on the highway without the traffic. Only Om Namah Shivaya and the space is absorbed with the image of the Shiva. Now let us, with a normal breathing, return to the normal breathing. Now our attention only on the Shiva. Om Namah Shivaya. While saying there is a Shiva presence, not an amaze. Even if the amaze is there, it's okay. But you feel the presence the moment the mind says Om Namah. Oh, Michael is here. So I know the presence of the Michael. I need not to say it, but I just express. So the same Om Namah Shivaya. Yeah, Shiva is here. Deep inside the cave of your heart. You are looking. Deep inside the cave of your heart means the rise in awareness. So there will be a total self absorption. That is the key. Om Namah Shivaya. You're still saying, but mental state is just absorbed. You know, as we get too much emotional about a person whom we love, and we don't see anything except his or her presence. Namah Shivaya. Whether you're swaying long or deep or small or short, but internalization is there. I believe you understand what I'm saying. Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya. doing nothing. When you do nothing, there is a happening. How do you know there is a happening? There is awareness. What is that awareness? There is only an awareness, there is no awareness of. You are already into a deeper state of meditation. It is always good to repeat and stay in the state as long as possible. But don't forget to reflect